Hello, this is this, and in this video, I decided to just do something a little different and talk about one of my favorite genres and TV shows of all time. Basically, in the sci-fi category, more in the sci-fi opera category, not the whole sci-fi. I mean, if I did that, pretty much the original Twilight Zone would be number one. But anyways, this will be, I think, part one, and hopefully I'll have part two up later on. So this is my kind of top 10 best sci-fi opera TV shows that I've seen, starting up from number 10 on to number one, with some more, I guess, picture graphic thing because, well, here's a little secret, guys. I'm lazy on the editing. I'm really not that great at it. But anyways, back to the whole list thing. Okay, starting up with number one. My number 10 favorite sci-fi soap opera, space opera, is an anime, or at least pretty old anime. If you haven't guessed it, I'm talking about Robotech. Yeah, Robotech, if none of you haven't seen it yet. Thanks to good old fashioned video editing to make three anime series, pretty much having nothing to do with each other, and mashing them all together with careful bullshit editing to make all the stories fit. And they did a pretty good job. Unfortunately, if you're living in another country, you never heard of Robotech, and you probably never will. And that's a good thing, because here in the United States, Robotech is almost forgettable. I guess that's why I'm putting it on number 10. I mean, it had great character directions, and the story was just pretty much there and spot on, especially with the giant transforming airplanes into giant mech like robots. And of course, with mixed in with good old fashioned tragic storytelling, there was nothing really to be said about Robotech. That it was actually a pretty good series, especially its ending, which started, which pretty much ended on Earth with a rebellion forces against a group of, against aliens who have pretty much taken over the Earth. Great story, wonderful character directions. I guess pretty much why I liked Robotech that much. Okay, number 9. One a great outer space story where the pilot looks like a bizarre man puppet, and of course, with great writing and good character directions, and an overweighted floating alien thing that looked like a masturbation job gone completely fucking wrong. And yes, this show came from Jim Henson of all places. Made in Australia, created by the man who, well, created the god awful TV show Sequest DSV, and of course produced by, well, Jim Henson and Hallmark Entertainment of all places. This series actually turned out pretty good, and if you haven't guessed it, I'm talking about Farscape. What can I say? This show was freaking weird and pretty good, and parodied later on Stargate SG-1. I would have made Stargate SG-1, but to tell you the truth, Stargate SG-1 is pretty much on my 11th list. I actually like Farscape a little bit more better. The zaniness, the weirdness, and the great character directions, and of course, feeling consequences of your actions type stories. It just really spoke to me, and all said and done, the series was actually pretty well written. I have to hand it to them. And Jim Henson and the Hallmark Entertainment actually, yeah, I actually said that. Hallmark Entertainment actually made a good show in Australia, produced by Americans. My next one on the list is pretty much, I think a lot of you would have seen this one coming if you haven't, but pretty much Star Wars. Which one? All of them. All the movies. Let me get one fact straight. I was okay with the Phantom Menace story. or at least Phantom Menace movie. But I do agree with everybody when they said they wanted to take Jar Jar Binks and throw him out in outer space and never hear his goddamn ass again. And I'd have to agree with that. And why the fuck was Anakin so fucking young in that one? All in all, Phantom Menace wasn't really that bad. I mean, Darth Maul was an ass. I mean, he fucking looked like a badass in that one. But mostly, I'm just gonna have to give it to the original three Star Wars movies. The next three wasn't so bad, with Phantom Menace being on the last place of it. Because as far as Revenge of the Sith went, I really didn't hate the movie. And it was a mediocre movie in my honest opinion, next to the Clone Wars. But well, all right, the last two are more mediocre. And the first one was Jar Jar, don't ever fucking speak again. You fuck, shut up. Okay, number 7. The new Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, I actually like this show, and it was actually a pretty good show for its time. Well, actually, its time was pretty recent, but the show was taken from the original show, and they pretty much took a more interesting development with the Cylon characters. You know, taking the Cylons from the destroy all humans to let's bang everything that's in front of us until our genitals hurt. It's an interesting approach. Okay, I was talking mostly about that first season and how many. Well, it was close to pretty much almost up there into late night Cinemax type storytelling, but with good, strong character development and, well, consequences to their actions. This series, well, was pretty good and had a pretty satisfying ending, just like all the other series I've talked about, even Robotech. Okay, now time to move on to number 6 and the last one on the list for this video, the original Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, I just got done praising the new Battlestar Galactica. Why do I like the original Battlestar Galactica more than than the new one? Simple answer. It was all great campy fun, and yeah, the stories weren't there, but the special effects. Oh man, were they ever awesome. Yeah, the special effects in the new Battlestar Galactica were mind blowing and awesome, but so was the original series. For its time, I believe the late 70s, and then going to the later 80s, before somebody, Lucas, tried to sue the shit out of them. Of course, the good old fashioned, where the fuck are we taking these characters because the writing just wasn't there. Oh, what a great show. It was just fucked from the beginning, and it was fucked in the end. And then when the new series came out, pretty much everybody, the Cylons, did a lot of fucking. But the original Battlestar Galactica was still better than the new one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this list from 10 to 6, and in part 2, I will do the remaining 5 on my list of top space operas, well, sci fi space operas that I've seen and loved.